Sales National Football Show. Welcome aboard. How you doing? It is great news coming out of the University of Cincinnati Medical Center about Damar Hamlin. You know what I love the most about what we're hearing? How about the first thing he asked the medical doctors? Did we win? That just shows you the warrior mentality that these guys have that play in the NFL. Did we win? Nothing else mattered to him. What we're being told is he can communicate now, writing on a piece of paper. And in that moment, he wrote down, did we win? That's a fabulous sign. Still a long way to go. But he's communicating. Massive improvement, according to the doctors. The power of prayer works, folks. The power of prayer works. Every person in my family was praying for him. My aunt took out her holy water. Honestly. My family's very religious. I can't even wear a red scarf into a church. Okay? Big Sills was raised Roman Catholic. Okay. I mean, like Caesar himself would have went. Sileo's a Roman Catholic. Okay? Honestly, man. The power of prayer. Good for everyone involved, man. Those doctors are spectacular people and what they're doing for Damar Hamlin. Congratulations to you guys. Talk about a job that matters, saving people's life every day. I was watching the doctors talking about Damar and all the care that people were doing. People were holding his hand, nurses, doctors, people that were feeding him, his family, the bills. Really great. Actually, a tragedy turning into pulling people together. You know, I think the reason why this country is so transfixed on this story. How many things in this country do we have together that pulls us together? We don't have very many things any longer. Politics, sporting events are really the only thing that pulls us all together. This is a moment that America came together. What is toy drivers now over 7 million? We have so few things any longer in this country that make us all come together. I've always said this to you about sporting events. And how about this in a place like Lincoln Financial? Let's go there. You have 70,000 fans in that building, probably 70,000 fans pulling for one thing, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Atheist, Catholic, Jew, Protestant, Baptist, all doing one thing, rooting for the Eagles. There's so few places in this country like a sports stadium or arena or ballpark that does that. Sports, this is why sports is the number one thing for Americans to get away from all the nastiness in the world. And when a moment like this and a tragedy like Damar Hamlin happens, it galvanizes us. It's fantastic. Watch this. This is like one of the coolest things that has ever happened to the NFL and to its fans. Bengal fans, Bills fans, Eagle fans, Steeler fans, Packer fans are all wanting to know, how's Damar doing? Every show that I've watched starts out with that. And you know what? We all care. We all care. I do. Watching those doctors almost brought me to tears. Who won? Who won? Did we win the game? The doctors responded, Damar, you won the game of life. That's awesome. Inspiring. The greatness of America. Saving a guy's life you don't have any connection with. Kudos. To all the fans and doctors and people, just great. I'm so inspired, so thankful that we have people in this country like that. I knew you were out there. The media kind of, they hide you guys. But I know you're out there. There's more of us that are good than the bad folks out there. We only report on the bad guys because that's galvanizing stuff, not the good people like those doctors. How about the story of the doctors? We'd rather report on Antonio Brown or somebody beating his wife or somebody smacking his wife. It's all good, man. Thank you for joining us. This is why we love sports. Because you know why? It is a microcosm of our society. Let's move on here. Got a ton of stuff today. A ton of stuff. Wow. NFL top 50 free agents. You're not going to believe how many of the Eagles are on this list. Week 18 of the NFL. Very important week for the Eagles. And Hall of Fame came out. Xander and I were talking prior to coming on the air here about Jalen Hurts and his leverage. Tone goes, NFL guys are modern day gladiators. We should respect them. Thank you, Tone. It's an honor to have been one of them guys. It's an honor, man. Totally an honor to be one of those guys. What up, Big Sills? El Paso, Texas, baby. One of my favorite states in the Union. Bruce, I told the story of a Texas police officer, one of those highway patrol guys, those DPS guys, all six of them. Big Sills was going to play for the Cowboys. Hey, son, your license plate says Dade County on it. Yes, sir, I'm coming from Miami. I played my ball at Miami, and I played for the Bucks. Where you going, kid? I'm going to Dallas. I'm going to play for the Cowboys. Cowboys? You know what D-A-D-E means to me, son? No, sir, I don't. This guy's like 6'9". D-O-P-E. You got a fancy car here, kid. I said, sir, I'm out in the middle of Tyler, Texas. Nobody's around but me and this gigantic police officer. These guys become Texas Rangers too, by the way. Funny, man. Great stuff. What we were talking about, Xander and I, prior to coming on the air, how much leverage do you think Jalen Hurts has versus the Eagles? And Xander, I'm gonna paraphrase what you said. He thinks they let them and Clutch Sports and Jalen play through his final year of his contract. Not sure he has the leverage that he thinks he has. Interesting. You think they learned anything from Wentz? And how about this? Does Wentz get that contract extension if they don't win the Super Bowl that year? Because they gave him the extension, didn't they? In the offseason after they had won the Super Bowl. Let's be fair. Carson Wentz did more of the heavy lifting in 2017 than what Nick Foles did. Foles crossed the finish line. No question about it. He gets massive credit for that because it was the GOAT and Brady in the Super Bowl. Had to win the NFC title game too. But do you think Wentz would have got that contract? Say the Eagles that year in 17 got bounced in the NFC title game. How much leverage does a guy who missed significant games have versus the Eagles? Interesting. Lamar Jackson. One of you guys said this yesterday to me, and one of you guys said this. I said you were nuts. I may be wrong here. So Lamar missed the practice today. Okay. Is he going to play in the postseason, or do you think he's going to shut it down this year because of the lack of a contract and contract talks? Does Lamar want to be a free agent and bounce Baltimore? One of the better organizations in all the NFL? Is that his leverage? He can bounce and go anywhere he wants. This kid is 25 years old, and he's won an MVP award unanimously, by the way. Only Peyton Manning has done that. Interesting. So if here's Lamar's leverage, I'm going to shut it down. And you can go into the playoffs with Tyler Huntley. Go right ahead. You and Snoop can go ahead for the playoffs. I'm out. That's leverage, right? What's Jalen Hurts' leverage? Most of these numbers, in my opinion, I don't know, against some of the shittiest football teams in the NFL, against some of the shittiest defenses of all time in the NFL. What's his leverage? And for those of you who think Hurts is in the same league as Lamar, you could wipe that out and erase that. He's not. He's not in this. Do you know he's the same age as Jalen Hurts? This guy's accomplished, man. He's actually beaten Mahomes. Won an MVP award. Lamar Jackson. Jalen is not as good as Lamar. He's not. What's his leverage? What's the one thing that he can throw at you? You know what Lamar is? Lamar's not going to have any fear of going into free agency. Who would give Jalen Hurts $50 million in the open market? No one. Nobody on the planet would give that guy $50 million. That's advantage Eagles. Advantage Eagles. Go ahead. I think if they learned anything from the Dak Prescott conversation, nobody would have given Dak Prescott $42 million if he went on the open market. Nobody. Miami would never pay Jalen Hurts $50 million. Not happening. How do you know he's not a one-year wonder? How do you know he's not a one-year wonder? How do you know when I start giving you this list of free agents here, the NFL has listed the top 50 free agents. You know how many people are on this list from Philly? 10. And you're going to sign a quarterback? Deplete your team so you could sign a guy with a lesser football team than your Arizona. Interesting. What's more important to Howie? The strength of the roster or paying a guy like Hurts who's dual threat and will never finish a regular season? Ever. He hasn't so far in his career. Jalen Hurts is never going to play a 17-game NFL season. Ever. He hasn't yet. What would make you think as he gets older, dual threat, that he's going to play 17 games? All the rest of these guys, these signal callers, these big-time quarterbacks, these franchise guys, these guys don't miss ball games, especially seeding games. Even the guy in Baltimore misses seeding games. Jalen Hurts will never play 17 ball games in a regular season for the NFL's Eagles. He'll never do that anywhere. Justin Fields, surgery in the offseason. Kyler Murray won't be back till October. Oh, really? Really? RG3, rookie of the year, one-year wonder. RG3 was a one-year wonder. He got hurt sales. Dual threat. Dual threat. I'm going to get to that here in a minute. Let me get to the other BS that I heard today. So I'm watching the Eagles.com. I'm watching the coordinators, Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon talking, and both of them are admitting that they haven't done a very good job as of late putting the team in a position to win. and they need to do better. Well, let me figure this out here. Xander, everyone, Tone. It's freaking week number 17, and you're putting your team in bad positions in week 17? If you don't have it figured out by now, you never will. It's week 17. Dude, I'll give you week 3, 4, week 17. These coaches have to have everything perfectly lined up to be successful. They're not innovators. The 2017 coaching staff was superior to these JV coaches. I need to do better. Bro, the guys in that locker room hear that bullshit and go, it's week 17, and you can't figure it out. Wow. A lot of confidence in those guys. And Mr. Emotional. Hey, you can't be, too high when things are going high, and you can't, when things are low, you got to be even keel. Nick, you're not even keel. You're starting a wave in Indianapolis. You're in Arizona, like part of the band. I thought if you were in Columbus, you would have dotted the I. Talk about emotional. The only guy that's level-headed on that sideline is the quarterback. Everyone else is emotional. What's that tell you? It's a very inexperienced coaching staff. You're not going to get bounced in the postseason because of your roster. You're going to get bounced because of your inexperience and your coaches. You're standing in front of the Philly media going, I got to do better. In week 17, congratulations. You don't know what the F you're doing. Dude, Jalen Hurts is getting the worst coaching in his career in Philadelphia, and I said that at the beginning of the year. Do you know Brian Dable was his coach at Alabama? Do you know that Sarkisian was his coach at Alabama? Do you know that some of the greatest coaches in the country were in Tuscaloosa? Then he goes to Norman, Oklahoma. Lincoln Riley. He just produced the Heisman Trophy winner. And you know what you got in Philly? Hey, if it's not open, run. And his carries go up. And he was on pace for 200 carries. I thought that shit was supposed to be reduced this year. You guys promised me that. Those coaches got that guy banged up and almost killed in the game. You had Nick going, player safety is a priority. You sure don't coach it like it is. These guys talk like this to the public. Their actions don't speak to what they're saying. Coaching Jalen. Man, these guys get more kudos for being shitty than I got in the wrong profession. You don't have to be very talented to be a coach today. You get a good quarterback, you can ride that guy a long way. If you know how to manage people, you can ride them a long way. I said this yesterday to you. You know what made that relationship so great in New England? Those guys probably couldn't stand one another, but they coexisted. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, did you ever see them in public anywhere? I never have seen a picture outside of them going to the White House. I've never seen them publicly together. Ever. But they coexisted and they won. Dude, your coordinators are your issues. Jonathan Gannon. And some of you will go, Sills, the numbers don't add up. Yeah, it does. It's fool's gold. How can you guys have a great pass rush, in which you do, You have a shitty run defense. And you play no quarterbacks this year. And every time you played a decent guy, they completed them like they were Joe Montana and Tom Brady. Last 2 weeks, you know what they figured out against the Eagle defense? Run a tight end up the seam against TJ or Kaiser White. Those guys will play zone coverage. Do you know why they played better in the second half against New Orleans? They played more press. You don't have the best DBs in the NFL. Your coach doesn't. If you have the best cornerbacks in the NFL, your coordinator's not utilizing them to that title. How do you surrender man coverage and play zone if you call yourself the best corners? The Eagles have the best corners in the league, okay? How come they don't play man coverage? Well, the coach doesn't like it, and he's afraid. I'm telling you, man, you're the worst 13-win team in the league right now. You're not, dude, you can't beat Tampa right now. And Sills, wait a minute. We got a better record. I don't care. You're not beating Tampa. You're not beating the Bucs. This is about who's playing the best ball the last month of the season, not 6 months of ball. You're not the same team you were in September. You don't have Lane. You don't have Devonta. Your coaches can't figure out how to use a Pro Bowl. Get this. Shane Steichen can't figure out how to use a Pro Bowl running back. What? This guy's a 1,200-yard back with 11 touchdowns, and you can't figure out how to implement him, but you'd rather run Gardner Minshew in RPOs. So get this. It was more important for Shane Steichen this last game to run Gardner Minshew in an RPO than to give the ball and turn around and hand it off to Miles Sanders. What kind of shitball thinking is that? Gardner Minshew, he couldn't outrun a kicker. Every time he got in that RPO system, -1, -2, -3. Come on, man. Jalen Hurts is the cover for bad play calling. I'm going to make a point to you here. Jalen Hurts ran the ball 157 times, right? I would gander to think that 90 of those runs were because the offensive play that was sent in didn't work. Remember this, every time Jalen Hurts takes off running, it's either because the play was bad, they weren't open, and they didn't have a contingency plan, and because he's still learning how to do 1, 2, 3, 4. It's totally remarkable that there's 2 1,000-yard receivers on this team. It's remarkable. They've become a finesse team. You're not a power team anymore. Why would you call yourself a power team? You haven't run the ball. You haven't run the ball in the last month. You haven't run the ball in the last month. How would you call yourself a power team? How can you call yourself a power team when you're trying to build your team from the perimeter? You guys said something to me a long time ago, and I thought you guys were crazy. I think that coaching staff and that front office hates running the ball. I think they hate it. They want to be in the room with the Kansas Cities, the Bills, the Chiefs, all them guys that throw the rock around the building. The Bengals now, they want to be part of that group. You're not going to win games throwing the ball. You win football games by running the ball and establishing the run first, then going to here's what's happened to Philly last month. The lack of you establishing Dallas Goedert and Miles Sanders You guys now are establishing A.J. Brown and you're establishing Devonta. Well, guess what that's done? You're 1-2 in the last 3 games. Well, Jalen's not out there. Well, that's because your coaching staff is not putting that kid on a pitch count and not protecting him. Dude, all of this is playing into where you are now, where, get this, you've got to play your guys, and the Giants don't? Interesting how the tables have turned. Interesting. Tone says, we're about to enter the thick of the playoffs and people care about whispering sweet nothings about the Eagles. The stakes are high. Act like it, people. If the coaches mess this up, it's a wrap. Tone, they have messed it up because they relied on Jalen. Dude, I'll say it again to you. Everything you guys said about Jalen Hurts, his coaching background with his dad, his ability to take coaching, I'll tell you what he does. Jalen does a great job of this, processing and applying. Here, figure, I'm going to show you how Jalen takes that shitty game plan and turns it into something that has 13 wins on it. You ready? Let me show you this. Watch this. So when Jalen drops back and that pass ain't open, you know what he does in his mind? That's not a play call from the sideline. Jalen sees it and goes, there's no way they can defend me. I'm going to get out in the perimeter and I'm going to create positive yards. And the thing he does better than Josh Allen and Andrew Luck, he's not going to take the significant hit. He's going to go down because he's smart to know I want to work on Monday. Where Josh Allen sees it's the only thing is to get that 10 yards. This guy sees the game better. Look at True. He goes, Giants are shit. So was Washington. You guys were parading around and croning around and telling everybody how great your 12-sack effort was. They turned around and beat your ass in the next game. I wouldn't take a divisional opponent lightly, my friends. Crazy things happen in those games. Jalen Hurts covers bad play calling. It's a complete fact. You know why? Minshew exposed it. They ran the same freaking offense for Gardner Minshew that they did in Chicago. And when they couldn't come up with a game plan, they were like, well, it's Minshew's fault. That ain't Gardner Minshew's fault. You put that guy in a position to fail. You put him in a complete position to fail. You got a Pro Bowl running back behind you, and you're running a quarterback who can't jump over a stack of nickels, and you're running him in RPOs. I mean, a high school coach could figure that out. Doug Pederson, if he and his coaching staff were on this staff today, the Eagles would be undefeated. And as soon as Jalen got hurt, Doug, Frank would have created a brand new game plan like they did for Nick Foles. Completely changed the play calling and the audibles and the sequences. I talked to Frank. You all know I'm friends with him for 40 years. Oh, he goes, we changed the entire offense. We changed the – actually, he said they changed the entire play calling and how they play called for Foles compared to Wentz. Completely changed it. Not this staff. Howie Roseman fired a Super Bowl coach and a coach who's going to win the Coach of the Year award in Jacksonville. All the great things that Howie did. Howie Roseman is Jerry Jones 2.0. Jerry's got Super Bowls too. Jerry has Super Bowls with a Hall of Fame coach. Howie has a Super Bowl with a coach who's going to be the Coach of the Year. It was never Howie in 17. It was Doug. It wasn't Howie. But Howie's the guy that likes to stand out front of the Indianapolis locker room so everybody could see him. He's Jerry Jones 2.0. Doug wanted the power. They should have given it to him. He's the guy that delivered the Super Bowl. So get this. Your GM would rather have a lesser coaching staff coaching his team so that he can push them around and be involved in the game plan and tell the guys who to play than have an actual coach in the room. I think this is going to be why you don't win the Super Bowl and maybe get bounced in the postseason. It's because you don't have Doug Pederson. Guy sabotaged his team the last year he was in Philly. Can't be that hard to see. Doug's won the divorce, by the way. Oh, yeah. Doug's going to win a division title in his first year in Jacksonville. What? Jacksonville is like the perennial dog shit franchise. How many years have we talked about them only in April getting the top pick? Here they are with a division title in their grasp. It is without a doubt obvious that Doug Pederson has won the divorce. And you got coaches in week 17 apologizing for not coaching good enough. And in Jacksonville, you're talking about a coach who's going to be the NFL's coach of the year. Because your GM wanted the power. I say Jacksonville wins 7 division titles in the next 10 years. Who in that division you think is going anywhere? Texans? Maybe with all the draft picks. I say Doug Pederson's going to own that division for the next decade with Trevor Lawrence. He's going to own that division. Shea Khan wants to spend the money. He wants a winner in Jacksonville. He's going to spend it. They're going to win division title after. Is there anybody in that division that has a better quarterback than Jacksonville? A better running back? And the duo of combinations? How about the way the defense is now being built? Dude. And in Philadelphia, you got coaches standing in front of the podium apologizing for the last month about putting players in shitty positions. And you got one guy who likes to start the wave as your head coach. I'm starting to think he is a little quirky. How emotional he got. And dude, what coach does that shit? They're very limited in creativity. It was on display against New Orleans. Trevor Lawrence is going to throw for 4,000 yards. He's at 39.01. He's going to get to 4,000 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 7 picks. I don't know about you, but that is fixing him. Dude, that's a great take there, Big Pickin'. NTN looks like Westbrook. Catches the ball out of the backfield, runs it between the tackles. He's over 1,000 yards now. Doug's got him. Dude, Doug's going to keep putting pieces around and keep adding components to the team. Boy, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, that thing's going to be exceptional. Kudos to you, bro. I can't wait to see how this plays out. You got coaches at the podium today answering the soft-ass Philly media and asking those questions. Why didn't you ask the question, how are you not using Miles Sanders in the first half? He gets 2 carries. Why are you running RPOs with Gardner Minshew? How come you guys didn't change? Here's just some of the questions I would ask. Why didn't you think you had to change the system for a true drop-back quarterback in Minshew? Why weren't you trying to establish Dallas Goedert? All you had to do was pull the tape out of Buffalo and Chicago. And you see how to manage a dual threat quarterback. You know how you do that? When a team is shitty stopping the run the ball. Look at this. Watch this. Watch this. Dallas can't stop the run. New Orleans can't stop the run. Chicago can't stop the run. You're 1-2 against those three teams. You threw the ball more times than you ran it. I don't get it. Here, Chicago was 31. Dallas was 26. New Orleans is 24 in stopping the run. But you thought you'd throw it to Marcus Lattimore when he got activated. And get this. Here's the new conversation. Out of those mental midgets in the NovaCare Center. You ready for this one? Well, Jalen's playing. So you can't beat the Giants. And you can't beat the Giant JV team with a backup quarterback? You got bigger issues than I thought. Because you know why? When you put Jalen out there, you think they're going to try to protect him by not having him run? Hell no. They're going to run that dude. Jalen Hurts' game is running. So you're going to take that component of the game away from him. Is that right? You're not going to win in the postseason if Jalen Hurts can't take off on third down. You know why? It's not because he can't get it. It's because your coaching staff doesn't have a game plan. Like I've been telling you, they have a rescue plan. It's Hurts. They're going to run that guy until that guy breaks. Then they're going to try to find another guy like him. I'll get to your comments here in a minute. I want to get to something else here that goes along with this. Hey, this football team that you have right now will remarkably look different next year. You won't be as good. Here. There's 50 free agents that have been listed by Bledsoe. It's a scouting service that the NFL has that puts all the players. Very few people have it. But here right now, some of these guys will be resigned. I'm not saying they're not, but today, here are the 50 free agents. I'm not going to go through all 50. I'm going to go through the top 10. And then I got the Eagle guys on here. Listen to this. Top free agent, as of today. Do I think he signs in Baltimore? 50-50. Lamar Jackson. Number 2, Saquon Barkley. Number 3, Roquan Smith. You're going to love these next two. The number 4, top free agent going into the offseason, James Bradbury, Eagles. So he's ranked 4th. You're not signing him for $18 million. He's going to get top value dollar. That guy has silenced the Giants. And why they didn't want to, the Giants regret not giving that guy the $6 million now. Okay? Because when he gets on the open market, he's a $17 million guy. You got another $17 million guy on the other side. You think you're re-signing him at what? The Eagle rate? Bye. Won't be back. Number 5. Unbelievable. Didn't even make the Pro Bowl. James Bradbury. Javon Hargrave. Hargrave is the 5th ranked free agent. Do you understand what that means? They're working on a 3-year, $51 million deal. You know why they started working on that deal? They started knowing on who the top free agent. He's the 5th ranked defensive tackle. Not DT. Play. That's in free agency. How's that? I see our internet's going here a little bit. Hang in there with me here a little bit. I appreciate it. Sorry about that. Hargrave's had a hell of a season. He's had a hell of a year. 5th ranked guy. Okay? Apologize. We're having a little issues here with our internet here. May have to take a timeout. It could be coming back around here. Do you understand what it means? Do you guys understand what that means? That means that Javon Hargrave is going to be in line for $18 million if he gets on the open market. $18 million. No wonder they're working on a $51 million deal over 3 years. That's under market value. You're not signing Hargrave. Why would I take $5 million less to stay in Philly? No, thank you. I'm the 5th-ranked free agent. Hey, winning comes with a price. Roquan Smith is 3rd. Orlando Brown is 6th. Offensive tackle Chiefs. Tom Brady is 7th. Jesse Bates, safety, Bengals, is 8th. Here's another one. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is the 9th ranked free agent in the upcoming year. Do you know what that means? That's $15.5 million. You ain't signing Bradbury and Gardner-Johnson for $30 million combined. You may sign one of them. You may sign one of them. Look at Fly Parks thinks that he resigns. So you're going to pay him $15 million. You're paying him $15.5. You're paying Bradbury $17.4. And you're paying Slay $17. Oh, I haven't even got to Jalen yet. Josh Jacobs is 10th. The Eagles have 3 guys in the top 10, in the top 50 free agents. Now, let's look at the Eagles outside of the top 10. Miles Sanders is the 22nd ranked free agent. $13 million is the price tag for him in the open market. Probably get 7 to 10. Eagles ain't paying that. 27th ranked free agent, TJ Edwards. Linebacker, 16.9. This guy makes 1.5. He's going to stay. Boy, you got a lot of money. Man. Brandon Graham, the 29th ranked free agent. Probably resign him. Probably give you a good cooking deal. 41 is Isaac Seumalo. Offensive guard. No contract offer. Nothing on the table. He'll get 10 plus million bucks in the open market. 10 plus million. 48, Fletcher Cox. These are the top 50 guys. Not even talking about Andre Dillard leaving. Some of these other guys. Man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 8 guys in the top 10 at top market value prices. And you think this team will be the same next year with a dual threat guy you gotta, or you want to, I wouldn't, pay $50 million to. Okay, let's see. You're probably not bringing Fletch back. Kelsey's $10 million's off the table. You got to sign Hargrave. Hargrave's the 5th ranked free agent. He's going to get max dollar. This guy had an unreal year. The money will be there. GT, the money's there every year, but it won't be paid out from Philly. That's not how Howie works. And plus, the money won't be there. When you start paying your guy, you lose guys. That's why when Xander was telling me at the beginning of the show, he was going like this at the beginning of the show. What's his leverage? Howie's got a team to re-sign. Howie's got to re-sign his team. Or guess what's going to happen next year? Howie will be exposed because once he signs the quarterback, the roster won't be the same. And he'll look like he did 2 years ago, 4-11-1. That's how we got to 4-11-1. Because every year he restructures the team. He burns it down, builds it up. Burns it down, builds it up. Burns it down, builds it up. And if he screws up in the draft, he goes free agency. This guy's so predictable, it's funny now. He can't draft a wide receiver. He's got it right with Devonta, but in his career he couldn't. He can't draft a corner to save his life. He cannot draft a corner to save his life. His linebacking situation, he found TJ Edwards, and he went out and got Kaiser White. It's not like this guy's some guru. I love how people are going and how people in Philly, I'm the only guy that doesn't see that. I'm the only guy that sees this, and the rest of them are calling this guy a boy genius. And for the record, he will win Executive of the Year this year. He will win the Executive of the Year. He will. But at the end of the day, when it comes to rebuilding the team, he's got to burn it down, build it up. Burn it down, build it up. We're so much better than the rest of the NFL. No, you're not. You're not playing anything near. You're not better than San Francisco right now. Better than Dallas. You're not better than the Bills. You're not better than the Chiefs. That's a lie. If you think you've been playing good football the last month, you're blinded by green and white. Plain and simple. You are not. You got beat by a 5-win team, almost beat by a 3-win team, and the Dallas Cowboys and Andy Dalton made your defense look average. Are you crazy? You think you're better? Shit, you know what San Francisco has? They got a scout team quarterback on their team, and they're going to beat the piss out of you. They got a scout team quarterback quarterbacking that team. I'll tell you what, if Tom Brady goes to San Francisco next year, Jesus criminy, he's going to end it with a Super Bowl. Look at this guy, Jesse. They lost to the they lost to the Broncos. Bro, that was months ago. Nobody gives a shit about September anymore. You're not the same team you were in September. Last month of the season, the Giants have been playing better ball than you. That's an absolute lie. You think you've been playing good football lately? Anybody who says yes is absolutely ridiculous. Well, Sills, we got a lot of sacks. Andy Dalton went for 81% completion percentage, and Dak Prescott 77%. Thank God Daniel Jones is probably not going to play this weekend because you know why? I would have took the Giants. Tom Brady's Super Bowl days are over. Yeah. Keep betting on that. Keep betting on that. Keep betting on a guy who was 44 and just threw for 429 yards this past week. Keep betting on that. Keep betting on that. Keep betting on that. And your spectacular, so-called wonderful coaching staff. Dude, you could turn any show on in Philly, man. And boy, do they get on their Howie Roseman knee pads and tell you how great that coaching staff is. I'm serious, man. I think when you have to get into the NovaCare Center, you have to own a pair of Howie Roseman knee pads. It's the only way to get in the building. I'm convinced of it. It's the only way to get into the building. You have your Howie Roseman knee pads? Yes, they're there. Oh, very good. You get them for Christmas and your birthday. They give you a new set every year. It's got his face on them. If you don't have your knee pads, you ain't getting into NovaCare Center. That ain't working, man. Seriously, to work in the media there, you got to have them. Let's see. Eagles have been playing like shit. I'm worried that they peaked to where – Drew, it's nothing to do with peaking. It's injuries. It's complete injuries right now when it comes to the Eagles. It's nothing to do with anything. It's not because they're not – the reason they're playing bad is because they're starting to lose key positions. That's why. It's got nothing to – no. I said this before, and I want to make it very clear. When healthy, Eagles are formidable, man. Right now, you're in the pack. You're in the pack. Hey, no. Mojo, watch this. I gotcha. Yeah, I can't wait for that, man. Okay? I gotcha. So is it the team or the coaching you're losing me? Okay, I'll make it very clear so it lands right for you all around. The team has lost players. You have an injury issue. Combine that with shitty coaching. You're 1-2 in the last month. End of story. Is that hard to follow, or do I need to walk you down some yellow brick road here? Or you can't follow along with that? You've lost significant players. You got a backup quarterback in. Your quarterback's banged up. You've got inferior coaches. What else do you need to know? I mean, I'm sorry you couldn't follow along there. I think it's very simple. But unfortunately, sometimes people can't understand what we're saying here because you can't follow along that clearly. I mean, what am I saying that's wrong? You don't have some of your key components and some of your key players. You have inferior coaching. This is why you're not playing well. Hello. I don't know. I think that makes it pretty simple. Hey, Dan, what's the Philly media's problem? Why don't they ask? But they don't want their press credential restricted. You can't ask those guys tough questions. You cannot ask anybody at the NovaCare Center is one of the most guarded places next to Quantico. It's like Quantico. You need triple secret badges to get into the place. And you've got to call ahead if you want to get into any kind of media access. And if you're not one of their boys, you're out. Half those people on WIP were all cleared through the Eagles. You think Odyssey just put guys on? Not going to put guys on. They don't need to. They don't need to because the people that run that station are you. Dude, why do you think the national media shits on the Philadelphia fan base? Because you'll get a response from them. Because they're passionate, loyal, love their colors, love their team. And they use that against you. Very simple to figure out. It's not a hatred for you. They use you like wrestling fans. Come on, man. You know better than this. You're trying to tell me you think actually Dallas Cowboy fans are better than Philadelphia Eagle fans? Or even the Buffalo Bills, that Bills Mafia, sensational. Look what they're doing with Damar Hamlin. Look at how they handle all their – dude, the people in Buffalo are a lot like the people in Philly. They love their team. And they love their players. I love that. You think you really need sports talk radio, and you really think you need a talented sports talk radio host in Buffalo right now or in Philly? Why do you think Angelo's 98 years old doing morning drive on WIP? What? Why? Because he's great at it. The rest of them? So much to get to still, man. Week 18 of the NFL, Hall of Fame. The Eagles won't be this. Dude, your coaching staff is apologizing in week 17, going into week 18. Going into week 18, they're apologizing for putting players in bad positions. I'd be like, can you imagine this? Here, look. So you're out to sea. You've been going a long time. You're with Columbus. And hey, Columbus is out there. All of a sudden, they don't see land. Shit, you know what? If you had Nick Sirianni on the boat as Columbus, he'd have jumped off the boat if he didn't see land. He wouldn't have went through with it. He'd have jumped off the boat. I'm out of here. Seriously, man, if this guy was on like with Columbus, if he was Christopher Columbus, he'd have jumped off the boat. I don't see land. He'd have jumped off the boat. And he's a paisan, which makes it really even harder. Howie and the crew hate you. Perfect. Only difference is I got a boss that doesn't waver here. Yeah, I know Dan gets 10 shares in Tampa, but he's a little hard on the Bucks. Yeah, but he makes $150,000 a month for us, and he gets 10 shares, 25.54 men. I'm not doing anything. Well, and then Big Sills, of course, with his fat mouth. Okay, it's either him or us. And they've had 7 morning shows since I left. I was there 15 years. I know everybody thinks I've been fired a billion times. I was at Tampa 15 years. Big Sills, love you, big dog. I hope you had a good birthday. I did. Thank you very much. You know what my kind of birthday is, my friend, Jameson? Nobody bugging me. Let me ask you this. Why are we soft? I feel like Sirianni's looking like a clown lately. Dude, because you're getting away from who you are. You're losing your identity in the process here. Okay? You're losing your identity. You're a pounded team. You're a punch teams in the face kind of. Barrett says it. They're like some sort of like finesse team now. Dude, when you don't use Jameson, why wouldn't you use a Pro Bowl running back in the first half of the game against the Saints? That guy should have had 20 carries in the half. So what if it was 14-10 at the half and you're in the lead? That's what happened to the Bills. The game was still close at half. They pulled away with better talent, and they beat them 35-10. They don't have any patience because you know why? Here's why Nick Sirianni is not the coach he thinks he is, and you think he is. Because he doesn't have patience. Why is that? Because he's too emotional. You got to have poise and patience to be an NFL coach. Got to hang in there. All of a sudden, when something's not working, you can't just bail on it. Keep pounding it. Keep pounding it. Keep pounding it. Keep pounding it. You're the better team. Keep pounding it. Keep pounding it. That's the difference between Super Bowl coaches like Doug Pederson and coaches and JV coaches like Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni to Doug Pederson's a JV coach. He's a JV coach. JV. Momentum changes Sunday. Look at DG goes like this. Momentum changes Sunday. It better. You're playing a JV football team. You know what's going to happen on Monday? The fool's gold will be sprinkled all over Philly. You'll pound the Giant team 48-10. Hey, Xander, remember I said this. Tone. Here's how I see this. You'll beat that team 48-10, show up on Monday and go, see, we're back. And you beat a junior varsity team. And you'll go into the playoffs once again with the stupid fool's gold. And then here, you'll get Brady in the opening round. Game. That's how close the game will be. Just like you were in January. Bucks and Eagles. Here we go. Game. 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 You're not healthy right now. Hey, can I tell you this? If you had Doug Peterson's coaching staff, I completely think he'd figure this out and you'd win and make it to the Super Bowl. I completely believe that. This coaching staff, hey, this is not about the players. This is about Howie sticking his beak in and the coaching staff. You got the saboteur putting his nose into the coaching room. What am I gonna? Where can I stick my beak in? Where can I stick my beak in? I got something to do with the play calling. The problem with Howie Roseman, he doesn't know his role. He creates new ones. He moves the chains on people. You're a GM, dude. How many times did Kevin Colbert come on this show and go, I get out of the way once the season starts? You know, Kevin Colbert doesn't do interviews or he doesn't say anything to the media. He has no access to the media when he was the general manager of the Steelers. He has no access because it's on this is Mike Tomlin's show. This is his time of the year. My time of the year is in the offseason. That don't work like that in Philly and in Dallas. That don't work like that in Philly or Dallas. What can I do? Here comes my team. Here comes my coach. Look at that, man. Come on, guys. Way to go here. Standing out front so the media can see him out front of the locker room in Indianapolis was just a great sign. That's when I knew right then and there, man. Coach Roseman's got it going on. He sure does, man. He sure does. Coach Roseman. Do you want to know something here? Tell your friends this. If I was on WIP or that other shit station they have in Philly, do you know what they would do? They'd be calling the program director, have me yanked off the air. Hit the like button. Hour 2. Keep it here on the National Football Show.